Hello everybody. So in this video we're going to talk about how you can manage inner stress to simplify situations that require that you step up your game in order to fix problems, find solutions, situations that are basically just stressing you out and that are maybe making you kind of activate self-sabotage techniques so as not to actually have to face the situation. If you identify with content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell symbol on the side so that you'll be notified when new videos come out. Also, if you like this type of work, then you might identify with the Inner Mastery Lab. You can find out more about it by clicking on the link in the description of this video. Okay, so today the point of these next few videos is really to ask you a few questions so that you may, in a less theoretical and more hands-on practical way, actually find solutions to any situations that you might be dealing with right now. So the first thing I want you to do is to identify a situation in your life that requires some sort of resolution. It's unfinished, right? And that's causing you stress. It's making you do all sorts of things to avoid having to deal with it, such as, and you might not actually, you might not think of these things as being defense mechanisms, but I assure you they are. When we have a difficult task at hand and we find ourselves all of a sudden sleepy, confused, absent-minded, distracted, agitated, or really stressed out, scared and not really being able to identify why, or we find ourselves doing things like losing time on social media, right, social networks, and or maybe being exchanging messages with friends. These are all parts of our psyche that identify that task as being difficult and leading to some sort of painful experience that the psyche wants to protect you from. So oftentimes you will find that you want to do inner work, for example, and right when you're about to do it, you get like really indifferent, or and it's because there's a part of your psyche, it's actually a sub-self, it's as if it were a little you, a little mini you in your psyche. It believes that it might have a belief such as, what difference is it going to make? It's not going to make a difference if I make any effort. So I'm not going to make the effort so I don't have to face failure and then become even more distressed. So that part of your psyche makes you become apathetic and you don't want to deal with things, and all of a sudden you don't do the inner work that might actually help you and in the long term certainly would. So another example would be like you think about the difficult task at hand and you get super stressed out. It's almost as if you're in survival mode, and you tense up all over your body, and you just basically you're treating the situation as if you were going to war, and just the level of the tension makes you want to avoid it at all costs. So this is also a part of your psyche that believes that doing that type of work or facing that particular challenge is something that you need to do in order to survive, and the consequences are so great, right? That the psyche wants to protect you from the possibility of not being able to achieve whatever survival thing you need to achieve. So obviously these are very primitive defense mechanisms, most of which were created during periods of our life where we were quite helpless, such as in childhood, and this explains the intensity of these emotional reactions and all of the ways that we self-sabotage in order to not face what we perceive will lead to failure or pain or punishment of some sort. So all right, what I want you to do, just a second guys. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to try out the next 4 steps, and then with regards to whatever stressful situation you're trying to resolve, and then if you feel comfortable, please come back here and let me know how it went in the comments. Now, I can't answer every comment, but I try to read all of them or most of them, and it's very important to me to get feedback from you guys. All right, so step one, I want you to identify a stressful situation that is requiring that you kind of, step up your game, and that is making you maybe self-sabotage and avoid it or stressing you out in some way, but it requires resolution. All right? Have you thought of the situation? Okay, so step two, I want you to ask yourself, how can I simplify this whilst giving myself pleasure? Now let me go into this just a little bit more. Oftentimes, like I just explained, we associate facing that situation with being punished or with feeling something really unpleasant. So we are obviously going to avoid it. We can work with our psyche if we are kind to ourselves and we acknowledge the fear of feeling that pain that part of our psyche is experiencing. When you try to just push through it and you're like, God, I should be stronger. I should have more discipline, or I shouldn't be so weak. You're really just kind of, invalidating that part of your psyche that truly believes that pain is ahead. So we want to be kind with these parts of ourselves that are in survival mode or that don't feel strong enough to deal with whatever task is at hand. And we're going to do this by negotiating with them, by actually asking these parts, how can I face this situation in a way that is going to be so simplified? And then you have to give yourself permission to simplify, okay? To innovate, to do something different from your rituals, right? If you want different results, you have to have different thoughts and different attitudes. And you're also going to want to ask yourself, how can you do this in a way that instead of being really painful, can actually be pleasurable, and we can totally transform difficult situations into situations that we can approach with a light, excited, curious, like connected energy. I'll give you an example. Today was a very long, hard day for me in terms of how many things I had to do. So, in the beginning of the day, yesterday, I was thinking about today and I was like, oh my God, I have so much I need to do. And then we kind of go down that path, but it's not worth it because, think about it. I spent so many years dreaming about having an online business and having the lifestyle that I have right now. And I'm going to be complaining about what I created. If it's entirely in my hands because it's my business, then it's up to me to make it sustainable, emotionally pleasurable, attractive, exciting, and something that I want to do. I'm very careful to check my energy and to be in the right mental state before I even touch my cell phone to record a video or before I, sit down to write something. So in order to not approach my work that I had to do with this heavy, oh my God, I have to survive. Oh my God, I got so much to do. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out and scared energy, right? I actually negotiated with the parts of me that were super stressed out, and I asked them, hey, what can I do to make this pleasurable for you? And what I got back from as a response, and I want you to ask these parts of you that are resisting facing this challenge, I want you to ask them, how can this be pleasurable to you? What I got back from as a response was, Tari, you want to do all of this work and your house is a mess. You don't have food to eat. You're going to be stressed out the whole day working like a maniac in a crappy environment. I want you to feel pleasure first and foremost. Calm down, clean the house, because listen, I'm a Capricorn and my what's it called? I forgot in English. It's called ascendente in Portuguese. My rising something or other. I don't remember. Write in the comments, but it's Virgo. This means I feel pleasure organizing things. So this part of my psyche was like, okay, you want to do work? Then first clean the house, cook your meal, and work out. Take care of yourself and feel pleasure as you take care of yourself, so that when you get down to the important work you have to do, you actually enjoy doing it, you're energized and you're ready for it. Now, keep in mind, I have a part of my psyche that's like, no, I can't eat, I can't exercise, I can't clean the house. The world is, I have to forget about the world and just focus on the job at hand, because otherwise I'm not going to make it. And this is where I want you, this is where we're going to talk about the third step. So number 1, identify the stressful situation you've been avoiding. Number 2, ask yourself, how can I simplify this solution whilst giving myself pleasure? Negotiate with those parts of you that feel it's going to be painful and listen to what they have in terms of suggestions for making it easier, right? Number 3, I want you to actually calm yourself down. And this is not an intellectual process, okay? When you figured out how you can simplify it and do it in a pleasurable way, before you start doing it, I want you to calm yourself down. Actually pause. I want you to breathe deeply. Fill it all up. And I want you to breathe deeply and slowly, even as your nervous system is going haywire, and as that part of you is like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. Oh my God, there's a challenge coming up. I want you to calm yourself down. Listen, resist the urge to be like, oh, breathing is not going to make a difference. You need to prove to yourself in a practical fashion that you can lower your level of anxiety by using your body, by using breathing. Okay, you have to train this so that it becomes so automated that when you start seeing the signs of inner stress and anxiety, you immediately know how to get your stress level back down. So number 1, identify the difficult situation. Number 2, how can I simplify whilst giving myself pleasure? Negotiate with your resistant parts. Number 3, calm yourself down. And when you're nice and calm, I want you to close your eyes and envision yourself, imagine yourself going through the actual act of executing the tasks. So, I sat down and I imagined myself putting on my makeup and setting up this scenario so that I could film, and sitting down and feeling energized and talking to you guys. I imagine it in my head like in 30 seconds or a minute or whatever. And then now you can go on to step 4. Step 4 is execute the tasks that you have to execute. But I know that probably those parts that were, resisting facing this task are going to act up. And I want you to be ready for that beforehand. And whenever they come up and they start telling you things like, you can't give yourself pleasure, it can't be simple, it has to be hard, you have to survive, you have to do it the way you always do it, or you have to avoid this because it's going to be too painful. I want you to calm yourself down again and keep talking to yourself throughout the day until you finish the tasks. I want you to say to yourself, what I'm doing right now, it's enough. Things can be simple. Things can be pleasurable. It makes no sense to do things in a way that I don't feel at least a little bit of pleasure. What I'm doing is enough. And just calm yourself down throughout the day. At the very many moments, I imagine, that those resistant parts of you are going to act up. All right, ladies and gents, that's all I have for you. Let me know how it went. Write in the comments. If you like this sort of video, then subscribe. Hit the notification button so that you can be notified when I post new videos. Share this video if you thought it was useful. And again, if you identify with my work, you might really be into the Inner Mastery Lab. Take a look at what it is. It's a 10-week program by clicking on the link in the description of this video. All right, guys, that's it. See you next time.